Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pound for Pound show. Thank you for joining us as always. I am Philip, and joining me are Ben and Russ. How you gentlemen doing in this cold January?
Good,
Great.
Phil. Doing good.
Awesome. Special guest today, Ichabod Crane, getting in the mix. He's got some picks for today's fight. So how you doing, buddy?
Ichabod's the man.
Whoa, the wait is over. We've been waiting on this heavyweight fight for a long time, and here we are. So without further ado, let's get into it. We've got the big fights on Saturday, 2 title fights. Let's touch on that main event first. A lot of intrigue, a lot of split picks out there from what I've been seeing. So I'm going to open it up to you guys. I'll throw it over to Russ first and then over to Ben. Got Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane, undisputed heavyweight title. What do you guys see going down, and who's going to get the win?
Man, I'm excited for it. It's the first pay-per-view of 2022, and we got the heavyweights throwing down like 2 absolute mutants at heavyweight too. Like we haven't seen 2 dudes like this since I think Lesnar Overeem that look like this and are this athletic. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in this fight. There's interesting storylines. Like the teammate thing is really interesting that they, sparred a lot and were teammates in France. The bad blood going on with Francis's coach not Francis, Cyril's coach and Francis is interesting. And then of course the big thing is the contract issue with Francis. Like this is his last fight on his contract and he's fighting, in a title fight in the main event. I don't know if we've ever seen that before. Like they always make him extend before they do that because, if he wins and splits, it's just big trouble for the UFC. And that seems like what he's going to do. It seems like he plans on leaving if he wins. He wants to go find that Tyson Fury or Deontay fight. So I think that's his plan. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going into it. I like that he's gambling on himself, because a loss cuts that contract probably in half. But getting into the fight, I think it's going to be a tactical fight by Gane. I think he's going to, throw kicks and stay out of range, stay out of the bombs that Francis is going to throw for the first couple rounds and hopefully take him into deep waters and wear him out. And I think, I don't know if he's going to get the finish or if it's going to be a decision, but I see Gane getting the win. I don't see Francis landing one of those nuclear bombs that he throws. I think Gane's a little too crafty. He's so quick on his feet. Maybe the best heavyweight we've seen as far as footwork and headwork. He's undefeated. It's just, tough to call, but I'm going with Gane.
Nice. Very nice. I think he does. His contract extends 1 fight if he wins, does it not?
I don't think so.
So from what I read, and it's like, again, it'll all have to shake out. I think that's in every UFC fighter's contract is if you have a title and you win, it automatically extends your contract. But Francis just basically said, I don't care. I'm just not fighting again, unless we reach some type of deal. He's like, contract or not, I just won't. So he's like, that's not how it's going down. So that'll be interesting to see what happens, because I think technically, I don't know legally what he can or cannot do if he chooses to not fight.
That is interesting.
Because like Russ said, it's, no one, it's always kind of been understood that if you're the champion and you're just going to keep on fighting, because why would you? No one's ever wanted to go anywhere else until recently. So this is kind of like, kind of new territory that no one's ever explored. So we'll have to see what the legalities are and if Francis is forced to fight again or if he just sits out or what's going to happen. Who knows?
And they always stay out of this position because they either have him extended like for multiple fights before it, or when they are not re-signing, they're not in a title fight or they're feeding them to absolute murderers. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
You know how UFC does people that don't have the contract.
Very smart business.
This is just a unique situation. And I'm very intrigued to see what happens. Cause if he wins, I think he's going to split.
Opens so many doors. If he loses, it closes a lot of doors. He's still huge, but I mean, honestly, I don't think there's in recent memory, there's never been a fight where a fighter has as much to lose as Francis. If he loses this fight, he loses the belt.
I would agree with that.
He loses so many opportunities. He possibly loses that Tyson Fury fight that people are talking about.
If he loses, especially if it's decisive. I mean, maybe if it's very close, but if it's decisive, that's going to be a brutal hit.
Yeah, you said it all, Russ. I mean, I couldn't say it any better or anything, but I'll just say that I agree with you. I think Gane is like the next evolution of heavyweight. His head movement and his intelligence and his distance work, his footwork is second to none. I think he's one of the smartest fighters in the UFC, and I think he's going to use his distance and head movement to stay away from those bombs of Francis. He's going to wear him out, and then he's going to probably take him down. I'm going to say he's going to take him down later in the fight and submit him. That's what I think. And but there is that Francis X factor, which is the bomb he lands on pretty much everyone he fights. So I think it's a coin toss, but I'm going to say Gane. He's so good. He's been flawless in his fights against Volkov, against Derek Lewis, who are no slouches. And
Rosenstruck. Yeah.
Did he fight Rosenstruck?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just been flawless. We haven't,
Yeah.
He's gotten hit. He got hit a few times in that Volkov fight, but Volkov's got a pretty big reach. He's 6'11" or whatever. And then he was going for the kill in that fight too. So he can go for the kill and still not get clipped clean. That's how good this guy is. Gane is that good. And, but I mean, if anyone's going to clip him, it's going to be Ngannou. I don't see it happening though. I'm going to take Gane gets the belt. What do you think, Phil?
So it's funny. I was, me and Russ were chatting a few days ago as we were chatting about the NFL. We kind of transitioned into talking about this fight. And for those of you who haven't been following, Russ is the biggest Ngannou fan, and my dog is climbing right on my table.
Get in there.
I need you to not do that. So he figured it was my turn to talk. He literally put his face on the microphone. So he's got to pick. So, but getting back to it, Russ is the biggest Ngannou fan in the world, and this is the first time he's picking against him. And it's funny because a month ago I was all on the Gane bandwagon as well. But the more I think about it and the more I see and everything, I just think Francis is going to get him. I think it's a big step up for Gane. And Francis is, he looked so great against Stipe. Like, he was aggressive, but measured. And if Stipe struggled to get him down, I don't know that Gane can. And I mean, Gane has been incredibly technically great, but I don't think he's fought anyone even close to the level of Francis yet. So not sleeping on the guys he fought. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're a bunch of scrubs, but Francis is a different animal. And if Francis is as motivated as he should be for all of the reasons you guys voiced, I could see Francis coming out and like really bringing it in round one. And that's a tough storm to weather. And maybe Gane can, maybe he can't. But no one else has been able to. So, I think Francis is going to get it done. I think Francis is going to overwhelm him, and it's going to be too much, because no matter how technical you are, Stipe is pretty freaking technical, and Francis was just took it to him. And that's how I see this fight going down. And then we're going to see like a whole world of craziness play out. And I think Francis is going to be like, you want to see me fight John Jones? I'll be sitting out front waiting for the Brinks truck to show up at my house.
Exactly.
So that's how I expect it to go. But yeah, I think Francis is going to get it done. I think it's going to be exciting. But I do, like I said, I won't be like blown away if Gane gets it done. And I think with every passing minute that goes by, it teeters towards Gane. I think Francis is going to want to get in there and do some work early.
100%.
And even if he doesn't get him out of there, at least do some significant damage so he can build on that as he goes into round two. If Gane gets out of round one, without a scratch on him, it's going to start to become an uphill battle. But Francis has looked a lot more measured and a lot more patient. So, but I mean, we could see like a Rosenstruck style fight where he just comes across like tough man style, just
yeah,
is there for Biggie Boy.
It's over until he lands one, because it only takes one, so
I would not recommend using that tactic against Gane.
No way.
I don't recommend it either, but I don't hit people as hard as Francis Ngannou does. So I guess if you can do, if you can do that, you've always got that in your
come
back
across
pocket.
like this.
Yeah, it worked against Rosenstruck. So
hey, also we should bring back the wheel for this fight.
Yeah, that's the
and the Moreno Figgy fight. So two wheel spins.
Yeah, we can do that. So like I said, yeah, we plan on, now that we're only semi-quarantined and on lockdown, we plan on watching the fights together. We'll bring the wheel, we'll do some spins, and we'll do some more crazy stuff, I suppose.
Yeah, about time.
People love crazy stuff. So
yeah.
Well, speaking of that, there is a second title fight on this card. We've got the third match between Figgy and Moreno. So, like I said, very intriguing. Obviously, the first one was a razor close fight, ended in a draw. And then, we had the second one where Moreno shocked the world and was pretty dominant in a fight where I don't think anyone expected him to be. I know that we unanimously picked Davison across the board, and it wasn't even close. He got blown out of the water. So, Ben, I'll let you comment on this one first. And then Russ, how do you guys see this one going down?
Yeah, Moreno looked great in that last fight, and I don't see how he doesn't just implement the same game plan. And unless Figgy makes some huge adjustments, which is definitely possible, but Moreno, it looks to me, and all the footage I've seen, he's upped his like resources, his training, and everything should be improved in this fight. And I think he's got Figgy's number, and I'm going to take Moreno again. I think it's going to be a decision though. I think Figgy survives, and I think Moreno is going to dominate this fight for 5 rounds. So I'm going to take Moreno. What do you think, Russ?
Yeah, I see it going fairly similar to the last fight when they fought 8 months ago. Like, I think Moreno's just faster than him, more technical, and just a bad matchup for him. I mean, I did not think that. I did actually bet on Moreno the first fight they fought, and which was a draw, just because he was a big underdog and I thought he had a good shot. But the second one, I thought Figgy would retool and come back more violent. And Moreno's just a little faster, and it just seems like maybe his kryptonite. Maybe they could fight 10 times and Moreno would do the same thing over and over. And I see him stopping him this time by TKO like late in the fight. I think Figgy has made a lot of excuses and not really even accepted it. And now he's changed camps and countries for this. I just don't think any of it is looking good for him. I think Moreno's going to do it. And I really hope Moreno does it, because he's the absolute man.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very likable guy.
Yeah. That's the one I'm most invested in on the card, because the heavyweights, of course, I want Francis to win, but it won't crush me either way. But Moreno's such a likable dude. Like,
he's the man.
Do not want to see him lose.
Yep.
What do you think, Phil?
Man, so it's funny because like I agree with everything you guys say, but I just have a strange feeling that it was just a bad night for Figgy, and he's going to look like a different fighter in this fight. Like, it defies all logic. I could not tell you why I feel that way, because everything you guys said, like, typically when people change camps, it's bad news. When people do all that stuff, like, everything points to just like a disaster, but like I said, like, I guess maybe he looked so good in all of his other fights and was so dominant. It's hard for me to accept that, like, the guy who fought in that second fight is who we're going to see. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think Figgy's going to get him out of there, though. I think it's going to be a shocking stoppage finish for him. I know it's a stretch, but that's I just have a feeling that's how this one's going to go down. And then that would be the first time I can think of it would set up like a 4th meaningful fight. Like, how can you justify guys fighting a 4th time?
Yeah.
And
it's already kind of weird. The third fight, I thought Pantoja was going to get the shot. I don't really understand how this lined up exactly like that, but I mean, the first fight was so amazing. One of the best fights. So
yeah.
Right.
And then the second one was exciting. So
yep.
It makes sense.
So I have no complaints about it. I just really thought like that's where they were headed, but Pantoja's got to wait because Figgy's got that star power. But yeah, I'm rooting heavily for Moreno even more than I would have, because now Figgy's with Cejudo, and that dude I cannot stand him.
Oh, Triple C.
I know.
How bad about Triple C?
I cannot stand him.
Oh, man. The UFC is holding him down. He was going to come win that belt, but they won't let him come in.
Hey, do you have any guess why that is? Do you have any guess why that is?
Probably because they don't want him around, because
he doesn't generate $1 for the company. That's why. If you generate money, you're in there fighting.
Yeah.
He has all the gold.
All the gold and not a fan in the world.
He might come in and challenge the winner of Francis and Gane and become quadruple C.
I bet you his family sits ringside and roots against him. That's how unlikable that dude is.
Yeah.
I bet they don't sit ringside because I bet they don't want to be even close to him. I bet they're just like, oh no, you go, you have fun. We'll just enjoy you not being around for a while.
They're probably laying in bed getting ready to sleep, because like that's the boredom level of 90% of his fights.
It's just so weird, because he went from being like having like no personality to being like a weird, creepy, whatever he is. Like
Yeah.
I can't explain
The
it.
King
but
of
I
Cringe is his new thing.
I thought he'd be like, you know, not quite as annoying as a coach, but watching him on the countdown and embedded, I was like, I might dislike this guy even less as a coach. Like
Oh,
he
man.
is such a freaking turd.
Oh man.
Triple C. Just, the Max
he's-
and Volk are ducking him.
No. Speaking of
God.
unbearable, Volk. But anyway.
The conversation for another day.
Yeah.
We could get into that. So I don't know. Was there anything else on this card you guys wanted to touch on? I mean, it's really one of those cards that's heavily loaded at the top and then kind of a drop off after that. Were there any fights you guys were
will mention one thing. Cody Stamen is fighting. Kind of a friend of mine, not like a personal friend, but like
he was at your house for the last paper?
yeah. No, he's cool though, but he's fighting. Good luck to him. He's awesome. So
Friend of the show, pretty big underdog.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but he knows where to get the info. So like he's gonna pull it off. So
Okay.
Yep.
good stuff. We're all rooting for him. So good stuff. And then I think quickly we would be remiss if we didn't touch on the main event from the fight night last week. Calvin Kattar came back after we thought he was possibly beaten into retirement and was a pretty significant underdog against Giga. And man, that was a fun fight to watch. Did you guys get a chance to see that one?
Yeah.
Cool.
Heck yeah. First
Yes.
fights of 2022, we were pumped for
Mhm.
that card. But
Yeah.
yeah, that fight was unreal. Like I
Yeah.
did not think Calvin would come back like even close to that good after the beating he took against Holloway.
Mm-hmm.
You could not see that turnaround coming, but man, he looked great.
He really did. I mean,
Yep.
I personally thought it was going to be the opposite. Giga doing that to him for 5 rounds, but Kattar literally paid it forward. Paid what Max did to him forward. He did to Giga what Max did to him. It was crazy.
He did, and he kind of like laid a blueprint on how to beat Giga. Like,
Mhm.
just constant pressure.
Yep.
He could not get any of those kicks off because he was in his face the whole time, just walking him down. I mean, I don't know how many people have the skill level to do that to him, but
Yeah, not many. I
it
don't
seems
think.
like the blueprint if you have the skill.
Honestly, I think a lot of people, including myself, were counting Kelvin out of that division, like the running for the title. Like, oh, look what Max did to him. He's not really a contender, but he's a contender again. That guy is
For
awesome.
sure.
And he's a likable guy. And Giga has a weak gas tank, doesn't he? Did you guys notice that? He's got a pretty
It
weak.
seemed like when he got taken down in the first round, it just like took all his energy because like he wasn't the same after that takedown.
He
I mean, he
carries
still
quite a
was
bit of
throwing
muscle.
bombs, but yeah.
So I mean, he who he's similar to is kind of similar to Zabit.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, Zabit mixes more wrestling in, but that's a discussion for
Yeah,
another
and
day.
Zabit's better, but
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just like, a lot of those explosive strikers, that's kind of the deal going all the way back. We'll get an NYBA reference all the way back to the Phil Baroni days.
yeah.
I'll see him.
Yeah. they're super
We're bringing up
explosive.
Phil
but if-
Baroni on this show. I'm done with the show.
No.
I'm pulling a Joe.
No,
out of here.
it's going to be a new gimmick. We're gonna try to sneak in a Phil Baroni reference every episode going forward.
As we should.
There we
There's
go.
no
Absolute
way that
legend of
guy
the
isn't
sport.
dead in the gutter right now.
No,
He's
Phil,
thriving somewhere.
yeah, he's out there putting beat downs and getting new dance moves.
He's probably got like a protein shake bar somewhere where he's like, at the gym just blending up shakes for dudes.
He's
Oh,
probably
man.
got his fanny pack on, selling roids to everyone.
No, it was all protein shakes with Phil Baroni. I'm telling you.
Sure.
But anyway, now that we're done disrespecting the NYBA,
I will never.
guys that are just incredibly explosive, but if you weather the storm, a lot of the steam comes off of those shots and it's a different thing. And I would be remiss to say that, and not only Calvin took a lot of heavy shots, and after the beating Max, and I'm like, either A, he has the best chin in the world, B, he has CTE, or C, A and B.
Yeah.
Because that dude, like, I don't know, can you knock that guy out? Like,
I don't think it's possible.
Max hit him about 30,000 times, and then Giga landed some really clean shots on him. And like you said, Calvin just walked him down, and he was like, he just ate him for breakfast. So I was super impressed with his performance.
He's tough as hell.
Credit to Giga too, because he's tough as hell, because he took quite a beating and he was
yeah.
out of gas. And he was getting hit hard, and he even had a little flurry there in the fifth. So give him some credit for
Sure.
hanging in there the best he could when he was obviously dead ass tired. So
Great fight.
super fun fight, better than anyone could have expected. So
You know what's interesting though is the last person Max did that to prior to Cater was Ortega, and look how Ortega came back against Zombie, and then Cater comes back like this. So Max is helping people when he gives them the beating of their life. You know,
It gives them a little bit of brain damage and inspires them to get better.
He does.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he
Maybe-
makes
yeah,
them
maybe
pay
you
it
just-
forward.
Yeah, you
Hey,
fight
Lord.
Max, then you realize if I can survive that, I can survive anything. So you officially have no fear.
Yeah.
But then Volk might have beat up Ortega worse than Max did. So
No,
you know.
no, we don't bring up his name on this show. Vol.
That was rough.
well, I think that's everything fight related, but we'll give the fans a 2-minute bonus. You guys want to throw in any picks for this weekend's playoff games? Obviously, I think me and Russ have probably played our hand a little bit.
Let me give a couple best bets for the.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
let's-
it's totally
real
fair.
quick.
My
Let's do
bad. I forgot about that.
Russ's
Yeah,
best bets.
make the people some money.
I'm going with Jasmine Jesuda Vicious. She's fighting Kay Hansen. She's a plus 200 underdog. So she's like a 2-1 underdog, and she's got a much better record. And I just don't think Kay's that great. I think her record's like 6-4. She's spending half her time on OnlyFans. I'm not too impressed by her. So like,
Is she?
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Let
I'll
me
take
write
the
that
two
Now,
down.
one
are you
dog.
not impressed with her fights, or are you not impressed with her OnlyFans?
Either actually.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if you're doing that as a fighter, things aren't going that well in the fight game. So I'll
Honestly,
take
that's
the
the fight.
2-1 dog.
That's the fight I'm most looking forward to on Saturday. But whatever.
Well, I
Okay.
might want to
I'm kidding.
look into that. And then I'm taking Moreno, a minus 175 dog. Just think he's, or a minus 175 favorite.
Yeah.
Just think he's the better fighter and a tough matchup for Figgy. And then I'm taking Gon minus 150. Absolute minimal bet because,
He's minus
and-
150.
yeah, he's minus 150.
Wow.
Francis, plus 125 on the other way around. But
Yeah.
I'm just doing sprinkling a little bit on that just to have a little bit of action. I have no, that's like betting the Chiefs Bills. It's like
You
flip a
don't know what's
coin.
going to happen.
You don't know what the hell is going to happen in that. So
I know what's going to happen.
you hope you know what's going to happen. But
Yeah, I certainly do.
anyway, that's the 3 best bets I have.
Great.
And then for football, we're going with the Packers. Phil, I think we know who you're going with.
I mean, they're all tough games. I would be lying if I told you those kind of, I am one of those people who does, I'm living the belief that whoever wins the Bills Chiefs game this weekend has to be the odds on favorite to win the Super Bowl. Both those teams are so good, but really just about everyone left is good. Like if you can't just like, you can't count out the Packers. You can't count out the Titans. You can't count out the Bucs. Like there's so many good teams left.
I really want to see the Tampa Bay Green Bay rematch this year in the playoffs.
I think those are like the two
Battle
like
of the
safer.
Bays.
I think those are the safer bets. I think
You
those
hope.
are.
You would
Yeah,
hope.
yeah, like I said, nothing's a gimme, but I think that like the Packers, especially in Lambeau, and then Tampa against the Rams and Stafford, I think those are very winnable games. I would expect them both to win. Where the AFC games, I think, are a little more dangerous. I don't feel super good about them. And I mean, obviously, I'm rooting for the Bills, but if you ever feel good about betting against the Chiefs, you've lost your mind. So, yeah, that game's going to be wild. So I'm just excited to watch it. Like I'm gonna just sit back and enjoy the game.
Yep.
So
Should be awesome.
yeah, it's going to be an exciting weekend. We got tons of fun football to watch, and then some big fights to watch. It's going to be a good weekend. So, we'll be back to recap it for everybody. Anything else before we let you guys go?
I think that's it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
That's about it, man.
Cool. Well, we'll let
Yeah.
you guys get on out of here. Thanks for tuning in as always, everyone. Enjoy the fights, and we will see you guys soon. Have a good one.